So over the last few days, Stuart Beattie, the original writer on Obi-Wan Kenobi, has been opening up about early ideas for the project, back when it was going to be a movie trilogy. Now, in light of this, when we talk about fan reception, a lot of folks have been saying how his ideas are superior to what we got in the show, although of course all of that is subjective. Now, notably, Stuart Beattie opened up about Reva originally dying in the series. Of course, last minute, or maybe in the reshoots, they changed this and Reva survives. I covered all of this on the channel the other day, but Stuart Beattie had a very different understanding of Vader, Obi-Wan, and even Qui-Gon Jinn. He wanted to explore Obi-Wan being trained by Qui-Gon in a much more in-depth way, not just have Liam Neeson come on screen for 2 seconds at the end and tease something bigger. He actually wanted the training to happen on screen, for Obi-Wan to learn how to become a Force ghost at the point of death. He wanted to connect all the dots to A New Hope. Well, now, my dear friends, in another exclusive interview with The Direct, Beattie has shared some more. This time, he talks about Commander Cody, who was originally going to have a large role in the project before he was cut. Now, I think on some level, a lot of us hope to see Cody in the show, especially in light of early rumours, but now that we know he's going to be explored in The Bad Batch Season 2, Cody fans are a bit less salty. But let's dive into the nitty-gritty of what Stuart Beattie had to say. In an interview with The Direct's Nathan Johnson, Obi-Wan Kenobi writer Stuart Beattie revealed that Commander Cody initially played a big role in the draft for his Obi-Wan Kenobi film. Cody was rumoured to appear in the project all the way through 2020, which means he was in the plans for at least 3 years, and it's possible he could have been in the early scripts for the show when the transition happened, when they decided it was no longer going to be movies, but instead a Disney Plus series. So when he was asked if there were some other legacy characters from past Star Wars projects in his movie, Beattie confirmed there were a few, but he notes that Cody was the big one. This is what he said: Yeah, Cody was the big one. I love the idea of Obi-Wan having a buddy on Tatooine, like a secret buddy. So like the first time he goes into town, you see Cody, and he's following him through the streets and attacks him, takes him into an alley with a knife to his throat and says, "You're dead." And then you realize, oh no, Cody's making a point, like, come on, you've got to be more careful. So that was going to be the introduction to Cody in this series. Beattie goes on to talk about how he wanted to explore Cody's character arc and show exactly how he transformed from Wayward in Revenge of the Sith to Obi-Wan Kenobi, while also revealing the character had his inhibitor chip removed, and this could tie in Captain Rex. But as I said, my dear friends, we're probably going to see some of this in The Bad Batch Season 2. So Beattie said the following: and you realise, oh, Cody is now morphed from someone who was trying to kill him when we last saw them to someone who is now devoting his life to protect him. So Cody was basically a defected clone, had his chip removed, and act as a bodyguard to Kenobi on Tatooine. That would have been really cool. Some of those interactions and those conversations would be really valuable. He goes on to say because by now he's had the biochip taken out his head, and now he realizes, oh my god, what I did was wrong, and he's driven by guilt as much as Obi-Wan is driven by guilt. So you've got these two old warriors bickering like this old married couple, bitching about, God, it was so much better when we had an army at our backs. And reading this, I would have much preferred to see this in the show. Yes, I'm super excited for The Bad Batch Season 2, it's one of my favourite series, but I would have preferred to see Cody's arc take place in live action. I'm so excited for the prospect of him interacting with Crosshair, and then eventually Rex and the Bad Batch, but in live action we could have seen Tamara Morrison interacting with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That would have been something really profound and special. Again, a big missed opportunity, at least from my point of view. So then Beattie reveals that just like in the Disney Plus series, Obi-Wan had to leave Tatooine. The major difference in his script is that Cody was ordered by Obi-Wan to watch over Luke while he was gone, whereas in the show, no one took over Obi-Wan's duties. And that would have made a lot of sense. I'm not too sure how Owen would have got along with Cody, but that would be really interesting to see. In his own words, Beattie says, and the idea of mine was that when Obi-Wan had to leave Tatooine, he left Cody in charge of Luke, and that gave us a little fun B-story to keep cutting away to, and yeah, he's a really fun character and a guy racing against the clock, obviously. Because he's aging twice as fast, he's trying to atone for the worst thing he's ever done in his life. So tragic in a way, but just fun. The way they bickered in my stuff, it was just, put a smile on your face, and just arguing all the time. And just to step away for a moment to analyse this, guys, it's such a shame we never got the Cody-Luke interaction. And no, it doesn't break canon, it enhances it, because in A New Hope, when Obi-Wan reveals he fought alongside Anakin, Luke jumps up and says,
"You fought in the Clone Wars?"
The Obi-Wan series could have given us a bit of added context, apart from Luke having heard stories from friends and locals, imagine if he actually befriended and knew a clone veteran personally, Commander Cody, who was babysitting him and protecting the Lars homestead. That would have been epic. The possibility of Clone Wars flashbacks in those moments could have delivered some awesome fan service, but again, a missed opportunity. So when asked why he thought Cody didn't make the final cut in the Disney Plus show, Beattie could speculate that it could have been to do with Temuera Morrison's availability. The writer added he felt Obi-Wan needed someone to talk to, and that is so true, and while they did give us Qui-Gon at the end, it was too little too late. Beattie says the following: I don't know. They just decided, I don't know, maybe Temuera Morrison was busy on Boba Fett. It would have been obviously Temuera. Maybe they decided they didn't need him either. I just felt Obi-Wan needed someone to talk to, someone who could tell him, you know, you're in bad shape. Now it isn't that Temuera Morrison was busy, because we did see him as a clone veteran. But maybe he didn't have enough time to be a main character, maybe that's what he's saying. But Beattie said he planned to use Cody to show how disconnected Obi-Wan was from the Force. He even says he was going to draw inspiration from Superman 2 for a massive climactic moment. The Obi-Wan writer then goes on to explain the importance of showing how the character ultimately surrendered to the will of the Force. He says, and that was always the idea, that by the end he found his way back to the Force and surrendered to the will of it, because that's how you connect to it. I believe you've got to make things happen in your life, but at the same time, you can't force your will upon the will of the universe. You've got to surrender to the will of the universe while still pursuing what you want to do, so it's a tricky balance. I just thought that was an interesting path to send Obi-Wan on. And then Beattie was asked if there was any particular scene from his movie script that he wished made it into the Disney Plus series, and he does mention a fun one that would have connected to the Book of Boba Fett. He mentions Obi-Wan and Cody visiting the Sarlacc pit so they could, quote, get rid of some dead stormtroopers, and that would have connected in such a great way. In his own words, he said, the fun one that I missed the most was actually a scene back on Tatooine with Cody. My Cody was so fun. Cody was with Owen and there were some bounty hunters that just discovered Obi-Wan, and they got to get rid of the bodies, and so there was just this really fun scene where, you know, what do you do with bodies on Tatooine that you need to get rid of? Well, you go out to the local Sarlacc, they kind of park, and they're having this whole discussion about Cody shooting, Obi-Wan, and all of this kind of stuff. But as they're doing it, they're just tossing these bodies into the Sarlacc pit, and the Sarlacc's eating them. In the middle of doing this other speeder comes up, and then they get their guns ready, and these guys see them, and everyone's frozen. Are we going to kill each other? But then the guys open their trunk, and they've got stormtroopers that they want to throw into the Sarlacc, and so they start throwing. Other ideas that were scrapped includes a scene with a very drunk Jawa, an ancient shrine on Mustafar, a refugee group with their own religion, and Obi-Wan and Vader fighting throughout the series, not just at two separate points. So in my mind, there are so many things, so many aspects of this original script that could have played out epically on screen. Unfortunately, we never got it though. But it is interesting to see Beattie open up about this. So are we going to see Cody in future projects? The Bad Batch Season 2 definitely, but as for live action, I'm not too sure. Let's see what they do with them in the Bad Batch first. But what do you guys think of all of these ideas? Would you have liked to have seen some of them being brought into the series, or did you prefer it without Cody? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a good one.